Today I'm diving into more furniture trends for 2024. This trend that I'm exploring today is coming back with a vengeance. So I am going to take this dated dresser behind me and flip it into something fresh. Come on along. Today's project piece is rolling in, and I picked up this dresser from our local Habitat for Humanity. It was marked down on sale for $30 when I found it. It's been sitting in the back of my garage for a little bit, just waiting for a little bit of inspiration, and I think I've finally found it, so stick around. This dresser is in the perfect shape and there's nothing wrong with it at all. We're just going to fix it up and give it a more modern twist to see if it helps it sell. This dresser is from the Vaughn Furniture Company in Virginia, which closed its doors in early 2003. This dresser is dated from 1990. While browsing through the Pottery Barn catalog, I noticed that the trend of light wood furniture is still going really strong, but alongside is that new surge in white modern designs as well. This dresser, while potentially beautiful with a sanded finish or a light paint wash, could look a lot like these Pottery Barn dressers, but unfortunately it's not made of high quality materials. It's got a really thin veneer on the top of the particle board, which makes me hesitant to sand it down. And the lack of solid wood on the sides adds to that concern as well. So instead I'm going to aim to sell it for the best price possible given what it's made out of and still design it similarly to what's in style. Time to take off the hardware so I can get these drawers cleaned. The dilemma with this project is I really like this hardware, but I don't know that it is going to go with this flip. So I'm going to get these removed, set them aside, ponder this for just a little bit, and then we'll see what we can do. Even though this dresser looks pretty clean, it had a lot of furniture polish build up on it, so I'm using some simple green to cut through that with my drill brush attachment. I got this attachment off of Amazon and it makes cleaning furniture really quick. Let me share a helpful trick that I've been utilizing lately to help prioritize my health, especially since if you've been here for a long time, you can probably tell that I lead a really busy lifestyle. So before diving into any of my tasks, I make a point to place my furniture in the garage first, and then after I do that, I've been habit stacking. And that means that the very next thing that I do is take my daily ritual multivitamin. Stacking my daily ritual multivitamin is a small but effective way for me to stay on track with my health routines amidst having a really hectic schedule. Rituals multivitamin is a clean, high-quality multivitamin for women ages 18 to 49, and it really helps fill in those key nutrient gaps in our diets that we're missing. I love Rituals delayed release capsules, and that's shown to dissolve later in the small intestine, which is the optimal place for nutrient absorption. But to me, that means that I can take it any time of the day with or without food, and it's designed to be gentle on my stomach, which is key for me because I'm always on the go and I'm most likely not going to be eating a meal at the same time as I take my vitamins because I'm going right back into the garage. Rituals Women's multivitamins are made with traceable ingredients so that you know what you're putting in your body because not all ingredients are created equal these days. I love that with Rituals multivitamin, I can get all of the key ingredients I need in just 2 capsules a day instead of taking a handful of vitamins. And they have this really wonderful mint essence, which means no more yucky aftertaste, and that is a huge plus. Be sure to visit my code below and get 25% off your first order. And if you do not completely love your Ritual multivitamins within the first 30 days, the order is on them. That's a pretty awesome guarantee, so be sure to check out that link below and join me this year in turning good habits into a ritual with a Ritual Essential Women's Multivitamin.
A big thank you to Ritual for sponsoring this video. Now let's see what other goodies we can find in this dresser.
So I flipped the dresser over to see if there's any way at all I could build a base on this or add feet to it, but unfortunately the way that this is built, I would pretty much have to tear apart this whole bottom ledge and rebuild that in order to build a base. There's nothing under here to attach feet to. It's really flimsy. So there goes that idea. It's just gonna have to be the way it is. I don't really love the height of this. I'll get more money if it had a fancy base added, but I'm just not gonna be able to do it to this one, so I'm just gonna move on. Something I'm definitely gonna have to fix is the top of this has a sort of like trim edge that's around it. And it looks fine when it's just wood like this, but when I'm gonna paint over this, this edge is really gonna stand out like a sore thumb, and you do not want that. At least I don't want that. It would be really obvious to me, and I think it's something that would bother me if I didn't cover this up. So what I'm gonna do first is take some tape along the edge of this and tape it off, and then I'm gonna use Bondo and Bondo all along the edge where this would show up in the paint. And I'll show you what I'm doing in just a second. And then I'm gonna take the tape off before the Bondo dries. This is going to just make sure that I don't have a ton of sanding to do afterwards, so then I only just have sort of the one side to sort of even out with the Bondo on it. I don't have to, you know, the tape is going to save me from having to do a whole lot of sanding, basically, is what I'm using the tape for. You don't have to do that part, but it is a little bit of a time saver, so I'm going to go ahead and just take that extra step.
If you're not familiar with Bondo, it's a two-part epoxy system. So you use a little bit of this brown stuff that's in the can, and then you squeeze on some of the blue stuff that's in the tube. And once you mix these two together, it starts to set. So you have to move fairly quickly. I usually mix up 3 or 4 different spots of Bondo on the piece of cardboard that I'm using. That way I don't have to mix up a whole lot of it. And once it starts to dry out, I just mix up a little bit more. And that way I'm not wasting tons of this every time, because it is kind of particular and it will dry quickly on you. I'm going for a smooth surface look on the top of this, so I am just taking this Bondo and filling in this little ledge between these 2 pieces of wood on the top of the dresser, so that when I'm finished I can have a smooth, even finish. The Bondos have plenty of time to dry, so now I'm going to take my Surf Prep sander, and I've got an 80 grit pad on there to sand all of this down so it's nice and smooth. Once I've sanded the Bondo down, now I'm taking my Surf Prep sander and just giving a nice scuff sand to the body of the dresser. This just makes sure that my paint will adhere nicely.
I fully suspect this dresser is going to have some bleed through issues, which means the tannins that are orange and red are going to pull through to the other side of my paint. And you never want to see that after you've just painted a dresser. So I've gone ahead and loaded up my HVLP sprayer with my Sherwin-Williams shellac. It's in the purple can. That's my favorite one. You can get it at your local Sherwin-Williams. And so I've got the big gallon of this. I've got it loaded up and we're ready to go.
You could also use a roller to apply this primer. You don't have to use a spray gun like I have here. I just have some of these tools to make my job a little bit quicker, but you can most definitely use a paintbrush or a roller if you'd like. Although this primer is really hard to remove, so make sure you're using something that you are ready to throw away when you're done with it. These drawers are flush with the body of the dresser when they are in place, so I'm going to put them back in and apply 2 coats of primer. This just saves me a step from having to tape up all the sides of the drawers. One of the easiest ways I've found to clean my sprayer after I'm done using the primer is I usually actually keep 2 sprayers on hand. One's for paint and one is for primer. Then that way I don't have to worry about mixing the 2 up, since one is usually water-based and the primer is not. The simplest way to clean out the primer from my sprayer so I can reuse it is by adding some denatured alcohol, shaking up the sprayer thoroughly so it comes off all the sides and the top, and then I run the remaining liquid through it with the compressor switched on. This ensures that my paint sprayer is clean and ready to go for the next round, and there's no sticky residue that's stuck inside. For this project, I've opted for Wise Owl's 1 Hour Enamel in the color Bone. Wise Owl is an all-in-one paint with a built-in top coat. It claims that it cures within 1 hour, which is really impressive. It's a really durable paint available in a lot of colors, so if you haven't tried it yet, I highly recommend giving this one a shot. While the price point is slightly higher for a furniture paint, considering its durability and its all-in-one functionality, it's actually a pretty great value. I'll include the link to their website below so you can explore their colors and also find your nearest retailer if you're interested. And again, I sprayed this with the drawers inside to help save some time and not have to tape up all of the drawers. I'll go back with an artist brush once this dresser is dry and paint the top and the edges. This paint took 2 coats for full coverage, and even though it was very similar to the color that my primer was, it had a little bit of a blue tint, which you might have been able to see from the can. So it was easier to see once it was wet and applied. I could see easily where the blue tint was versus my primer, so that did help me out, but I noticed that you guys can't really tell on the video. After cleaning it up, I just couldn't bear to part with this hardware. It initially complemented that vibe so nicely on the dresser, however, its appearance didn't quite hold up after cleaning it, so I decided to give it just a little makeover. For this modern upgrade, I opted for Rust-Oleum spray paint and a brushed bronze finish. Now that the drawers are dry, I'm taking a trim brush and just touching up the tops and the sides. This is a great way for me to make sure I haven't gotten any overspray on the drawers, and if I have, I'll just take a 180 grit sandpaper and remove it. I let the hardware dry for about 2 hours out in the sun, and it's time to start reassembling. So some quick info on how I'm going to price this thing once I'm done with it. With the cost of the dresser and the paint, the few supplies that I use that I already had lying around that I previously purchased, I'm probably all in at around $100 on this guy. Considering that this dresser has more of a modern look and feel now with its flat front and its updated color, I'll most likely sell this one in my area for around $650. I'll start it closer to $700 and negotiate from there. What questions do you guys have about pricing your furniture flips for maximum profits? Drop them below and let's see if I can help you out. It's hard to say anything negative about the before look on this piece, but considering that the dresser wasn't made with the greatest materials, I knew that this would sell better updating it to look like what was in the current furniture catalogs. I'll be listing this guy this weekend on Facebook Marketplace, and as always, I'll let you know in the community tab when it sells and what I sell it for, so be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow along. Thank you to Ritual for sponsoring this week's video. Be sure to check out their link below and save on your first order. I've been a Ritual customer for over a year now, which is why I love partnering with them. Next week's project is already rolling in and you don't want to miss it. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a flip, and I'll see you next time on Lemons to Lemonade Furniture.